Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's premium review in which we are taking a look at the Swedish Mörkö-Morane, if you say it like that. Probably butchered it, at 1.7 battle rating. This looks a lot like the French MS410, but it looks different. It definitely had some modifications. I'm not sure what for, but anyway, it has some of the characteristics of that plane. Is this a fast plane? Well, reasonably at 1.7. A maximum speed at sea level without web is 433 and with web 455 kilometers an hour. At 4,500 meters she'll go up to 405 without web, and at this stage there already is no war emergency power. That stops working at 3,750 meters altitude. At 6,500 meters she'll go up to 366 kilometers an hour. So decent speeds, definitely at this battle rating especially. It has fantastic speeds in down tiers and at its own battle rating. In up tiers the speeds already are a little bit lackluster, except in a dive. In a dive this plane is still good, even in up tiers. The top speed in a dive is 719 before she redlines, and 775 before she rips apart. Now these speeds are in indicated airspeed without Mach. Control stiffening, is that the effective dive speed, you would say? Well, no, the control stiffening already starts at 400. The first big tick in the roll rate comes at 400 kilometers an hour, and the second one at 500 really makes her slow down. Severe control stiffening in the roll rate. Then the elevator is still functioning and you can definitely get her out of the dive, unless you still have to roll half away, so be careful when you get close to the ground there. But above 700 the plane is really compressing in the roll rate, as I said, so don't do any shenanigans there. Try to pull out of the dive and you'll be fine. The stall speed in the plane is 135, which is quite decent. Definitely okay. It's nothing that a biplane can handle, but for a monoplane it's quite good. Although there is better. Firepower on the plane is good. It has one 12.7mm Beresing UB machine gun with 230 rounds for the gun, supported by two 7.5mm Mach 1934 machine guns with 300 rounds per gun. Ammo loads are decent. I would call the 12.7mm ammo good and the 7.5mm ammo average for the loads. The acceleration in a plane in a straight line is very good indeed. It picks up her speed quite nicely, and in a dive it's actually great. I love this plane in a dive. Very good handling, very good performance in a dive. The energy retention in the horizontal is very good. So with web you definitely hold your speed very well. You can escape a lot of things at this battle rating and get home safely if you have to. And in the vertical she has great energy retention. She's great in the vertical, and she also supports that with good climb rate. She's a fantastic energy fighter and she's also good in stall maneuvers. The turn time in the plane is just decent. It can come up to good with flaps in certain speeds, especially between 3 and 400. But the flaps do rip off at 370 kilometers an hour, so that's already in that ideal window, and you definitely want to be careful with those flaps. They work pretty nicely, and if you get asymmetric flaps by ripping one off, you can heel your plane over fairly rapidly and crash into the ground if you're in a maneuver that is risky. So yeah, be careful with ripping those flaps. The roll rate in the plane is average. This is one of the weaker points in the plane, the roll rate, no more than average. And between 3 and 400 she's slightly above average, but that's it. Overall maneuverability is decent. Overheating is also a weaker point of the plane. She does overheat. Both the oil and the water overheat fairly easy, but they also cool down reasonably easy. So it is manageable, but you got to be aware. Absolutely. Durability in the plane is good. It can take a good amount of damage. She's quite the sturdy little bugger and quite enjoyable to fly. So yeah, good durability, survivability in the plane is quite good. And she's absolutely fantastic for this battle rating, I have to say. I mean, the energy fighting in this plane is, well, it's not unsurpassed. You have things like the CW-21 for the Chinese. You have the Kai-27s at 1.3, which turn better than this plane as well, for example. But the speeds don't necessarily match up on that plane. But this plane is an absolute fantastic energy fighter, and it will wreak havoc on the enemy team at its own battle rating. And down tiers, absolutely fantastic. In up tiers it's going to be a little bit more difficult. The things that this plane shines at are, well, I mean, at 2.7 you can already meet Corsairs, for example, which are fantastic in a dive as well. Then you cannot escape so easily in this plane if the Corsair pilot knows what he's doing. So yeah, I mean, but that's always the case in up tiers, right? You gotta make use of the strengths of the plane, but the plane can definitely compete there and do an absolute good job. I've heard people up tiering this thing to 4.3, 4.7 and still having a good time. But yeah, I think that's a bit overdoing it. This plane doesn't belong at those battle ratings for sure. But it can definitely be a 2.7 plane with up tiers to 3.7. That would be quite normal, very good to handle in this plane. For the 4.7 up tier, you will need a good pilot to compete there. Then the plane is definitely lacking at that stage. But yeah, before that point, I think she does very well, and she can compete. And she's a little bit low in battle rating for the flight performance she represents. Although I've shot many down. I mean, we shouldn't exaggerate these things. Every line has fantastic planes, and this is just another one of those. I don't really believe in the term OP. I mean, the pilot makes a difference in the end, and of course there's very strong planes out there. CW-21 is another one of those. This one is one of those. But there is many, and the planes, the trees are so extensive by now that in every tree you can find a competitor to these planes that can do something much better than this plane and give you tools to work with. That's what you need in the end as a good pilot. Tools to work with against these kind of planes. But yeah, it's a very good premium, and as I said in rank 1 review for the Swedish, you should definitely wait to buy this premium. Don't buy the rank 1 premium, but buy this one. You can unlock the first 2 ranks with this plane if you want to keep it to one plane, right? There's too many fun planes in the Swedish line to just fly this one, I would say. But if you want to hurry through the ranks to something that you like in rank 3, then yeah, you can definitely do it in this plane. She's an absolute beast and performs very well and steady. Very consistent too. Let's see what kind of rewards we got for that performance. Quite a few. Survivor, the best squad, Terror of the Sky, and on hand 75,000 Silver Lions and almost 9,000 research points. That is fantastic. Great rewards on this plane. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now, talking about great rewards, you get great rewards in this plane. Did I mention that? Yeah, it's quite nice. She really brings in the research points, the Silver Lions. And if you're short on Silver Lions, you get a few good matches in this thing. You're not short on Lions anymore. I'm always short on Lions these days. As I go through these trees, the Chinese tree, this one. Again, experiencing what I used to experience when unlocking stuff that you're always looking for Lions. Fun times, but no problem. With a plane like this, you can just jump in at a few matches and you have enough Lions to buy the next plane that you unlocked. So absolutely nice. Fantastic performer. Very nice to energy fight in. Fantastic to boom and zoom in as well, although the compression doesn't help in the roll rate and getting guns on target in those dives. So she's not ideal. I would say energy fighter first, boom and zooming second, and if you have to turn as a third option. But she can even do turn fighting reasonably well, so it's not terrible at that. The roll rate is a little bit lackluster, the overheating is a bit of a problem. But for the rest, for the battle rating she sits at, she has precious little downsides. And it's a very strong contender for one of the better planes at a 1.7 battle rating. So yeah, absolute fun to fly and great performer. And definitely worth your money. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. I want to thank you all for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.